Is Danchel House the best value in hot tent wood stoves right now? Yeah. It's March. It's like March 10th, March 9th, something like that. Winter is pretty much on its way out. Spring is rearing its beautiful little head, which means these kinds of products, I mean, they're not being used as much as they were, even just a couple of weeks ago, let alone a month ago. However, this winter, I've been getting into a lot of hot tent camping. If you want to see some of those videos, you can check those out right up there. I've been talking to Danchel House for a few weeks, maybe a month, regarding their stove lineup. Now, they are an Amazon retailer, and you can find all their stoves in the Amazon store, and I'll put a link down in the description below to their store. They sent me a few of these stoves, and the really nice part about their stoves is, one, they're pretty affordable, compared to some of the bigger brands out there, and they have a bunch of different little features. They have a stainless steel version, they have titanium version, some with windows, some without windows, and the price points kind of reflect that. But the best part is most of them, they all fold up into this nice, neat, compact, lightweight package. And not only that, they give you carrying cases for them. Like, this is pretty much the same carrying case for all three of these. The stove compacts and folds down and gets stored into this. The stovepipe, the flue, the scraper, everything gets stored into this. And this will fit in like a 20-liter backpack very easily. All of these stoves that I have here are virtually identical as far as specs go. Right? They're all 8 inches wide. All right? They are 14.5 inches long or deep. So make sure that your logs are no longer than that, right? The height of this is like 7.5 inches tall. I think the capacity, the volume inside of these stoves is like 9.7 liters, whatever that means to you. And as far as when the legs are folded out from the ground to the top is like 11 inches. Now the weights are a little bit different depending if you have steel and depending if you have titanium. But what I would like to do is I want to fold one of these out and show you exactly what that looks like. This is basically how it comes. There's a Velcro strap that normally goes over it, and this nestles perfectly down into one of those cases. The stovepipe flue that comes separate, that packs separately, once you get it, it's easily just to twist it on here and seat it, and it's good to go. And that's your flue right in here. This particular model, this is the top of the stove. This particular model has kind of like a spark arrestor kind of built in it. These other two don't. The spark arrestors are actually on top of the stovepipe. But here's the stove. And it is very simple. You got the front that folds out, the back that folds out, okay? You got a side wall that folds out as well. And to lock in the side walls, there's just these little tabs. You just fold over, and that side wall is secure. The same with this side. Fold down the tabs to secure it. Very simple. So that is your main body. It's just a metal box, and then your lid snaps right on. And then these get locked on as well with these little tabs. Your stove is put together. That's it. That's it. As far as the legs go, the legs do collapse, and it's the simplest thing ever. And that is your stove. Now, this particular version is stainless steel with a window. This version is titanium with a front window and a side window. This version is titanium with no windows. This is as basic as it gets. And obviously the price points will reflect that. But let me get some weights on just these stoves alone, just to see what we are looking at. The stainless steel stove, just the body and the flue. I'm not including pipes or anything like that. The stainless steel one is 4 pounds, 11.9 ounces, or like 2.15 kilograms, something like that. And this is the heavier one of them. The titanium one with the 2 glass panels. This one is going to be, it's going to be lighter, no doubt about it. The titanium is almost a pound lighter, 3 pounds, 11 ounces, or 1.68 kilograms. And now the titanium with no glass, this is going to be the lightest one because glass has got a little bit of weight to it. This is 2 pounds, 15 ounces, or 1.33 kilograms. So these stoves, not only are they convenient, they're easier to carry. You can backpack with these. You know, along with your sleep systems and your tent, you can backpack with these particular stoves. My big one-piece steel stove, that's not a backpacking stove. It's 20 pounds, it's one piece of steel. Thing puts out a ton of heat, but that is not a backpacking stove. These are backpacking stoves. They're full-featured. You know, from the build quality, from the basics that they have, this is a really good stove. Now, these are new. I haven't done anything with the stainless steel one. I haven't done anything with the titanium no window version. But the titanium with the front window and the side window, I actually took this out for a burn and I tested it to see how it set up, to see how it burned. And it's my first time ever using a stove like this. And these have the rollable stovepipes. Let me show you. It all comes packaged in this tube. And in here is your stovepipe. Now this rolls out and it's 6 feet long. It's 2 meters long. Now I will say that these rollable pipes, they're very convenient because they're small and compact. But they are a giant pain to put together. Check out this video and see what I learned about setting this up and burning it for the first time. Man, winter time is definitely coming to an end. It's 42 degrees outside, snow's melting, sun's shining. Winter camping, hot tent season especially, it's pretty much over. But I do need to get a burn on one of these stoves. I got to see how it burns and see how well it performs. Otherwise this review wouldn't be quite complete, right? Check this out. This is a 22-liter backpack. This is one of my day bags, Flash 22. And this stove, I mean, it fits right in it. No problem. I love that. Got the stovepipe and everything in there. Let's put this together. Let's get a burn on this baby. The one I'm burning today, it's one of their upgraded models. It's the one with, it's got a window up front and it's also got a window on the side. Like I said, these models kind of, they vary and they're updated all the time. So by this time next year, these models may not even be available. They may be all upgraded or tweaked just a little bit. But the fact remains that just the overall build quality and the design of all the stoves, they're very, very similar. Yeah, one could be stainless steel, one could be titanium, but the design is the same. The dimensions are all the same. But bottom line, for this being the heartbeat and the soul of your hot tent system, I think this is going to do extremely well. And putting all this together, it's so easy. It's so easy. And I like the fact that it comes with a case, because these stoves get dirty, they get sooty, and this case just helps protect all that. I will say that the differences between steel and titanium, for me, I think they're fairly significant. Titanium is way lighter. It dissipates heat faster, it transfers heat way faster, which means it doesn't really retain it either, right? And this with gloves on is not the easiest thing in the world. So let's, but with steel, a little sturdier because the material's thicker. Also with the steel, it's going to retain heat more, which means it's just going to radiate heat more. You know, so if your fire's dying down at night, it's just going to stay warmer longer, which is good for heating your tent, bad for letting it cool down, and for putting it away once everything is done. Got a few little scuffs and scratches on it, but that's wear and tear. You got the flue. Now the stovepipe. I have never rolled one of these stovepipes. We're gonna do it for the first time together, and this might turn out to be an absolute nightmare. So let's give it a shot. All right, we got all the rings to keep the pipe together. You got little like lock adjustable collars. That's nice because they're kind of like wing nuts, so that you can hand tighten these. I imagine one is to go over this, and this one's probably gonna go over this, I imagine. And I heard it's a good idea to reverse roll it at first, just to get rid of some of that memory. So I'm gonna reverse roll this. And this did come with cut gloves. I'm just using my little work gloves. Same thing, it'll avoid some of these sharp edges. But the sharp edges on these, it's an actual hazard. Like, you can slice yourself. And it's not like a paper cut. This is like a major slice, so just be very, very careful. If you don't roll this correctly, it's super prone to bending and creasing, which is an absolute nightmare. So I hope I get this right. I watched a couple of videos on how to do this. There's other methods like using pool noodles and all these kinds of things. I don't know what's the best. So we're gonna learn together here. All right, I just realized I kind of cut off my face, but you heard what I was talking about. So this has been reverse rolled for a little while. Yeah, it works. It folds out really flat. It's windy though. This is like a big piece of titanium foil, basically. So this is gonna be brutal. All right, had to weigh that down on the other end because it is windy. So you're gonna want all your rings handy. Make sure that all your rings are close, because as you roll this, you're gonna wanna put these on there as you continue to roll so it doesn't come unraveled on you, obviously. From everything I've seen, they roll it kind of diagonally. Like, just like this. And you just wanna be very, very careful and just start rolling. And then as you go and start making your pipe, you want to start installing your rings. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of install all of them. That way I can just keep sliding them up the pipe as I go. But I've heard a lot of nightmares on how this process is. To roll, try to get it pretty tight without creasing it, and then just keep sliding the rings up as I go. This thing is supposed to be 6 feet long, so obviously once I get this kind of rolled up, I'm gonna have to start twisting it to get the edges even and create the pipe, and hopefully it's the right size. Okay, so that's semi-rolled. Now I have to adjust it to make sure it's all even. All right, we'll see how this works. It might fall apart on me. I don't know. And this has got to roll even more. I'm just twisting and pulling just to elongate this thing. And yeah, this is going to be a process. Doing this out in the wind, straight garbage. It's a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. So, came inside, out of the wind. It's like trying to roll up a kite or something. It's not fun. This is the big reason why I'm not a giant fan of these systems. I like the fact that it's compact and it's lightweight and it can still give you 6 feet, but this thing's a giant pain. I know once you get it together and you burn it in, I guess it's a lot easier. But this initial step is a monster. And then, like I said, then I'm out in the wind. Oh my goodness. So I'm starting on one side, and outside, the far side kept just blowing back at me. I was ready to just lose my shit. And I know everyone who's done this, they're watching me right now saying it's the easiest thing in the world. But I know I'm not alone in saying that this is a process. And quite frankly, not a fun one. This stovepipe is 2.36 inches, which is the same size as my fixed pipes for my other stove. So I might just find a way to pack solid pipes, because we're at the angle here, right? So now this has got to start flattening off, which means this needs to start coming up. But everything is being restricted by these rings, and this is the problem that I'm coming into. So this is like my third attempt. First attempt inside, and this was much easier inside in controlled conditions. It's not flat. It's got to be flat. And if you had bare hands, you'd be sliced. You'd be sliced to garbage right now. I have to start over. Every person that I see with this stovepipe, their stovepipes are always crinkled and they look like garbage. It's almost like you should be sent 2 of them, one to mess up, you know? So, I don't know, can I just fold it straight away like this? I got a bunch of creases right here. That's messing with me. Okay, I kinda got it. Kinda. One ring on the far side. Hold it with my foot. Get this end ring on. It wants to come unfolded down the end so bad. Ooh, it wants to twist. It wants to twist. It took like 5 tries for this thing, and I don't know if it was worth the trouble. This was, I mean, it's still creased, it's not smooth. This is it. Hey. That was like one of the worst things I've ever done in my life. So we'll get the little collar on here, spark arrestor. And I honestly don't know, like, where on the spark arrestor there are these little fins here. You kind of push those in just a little bit, and then the walls of the stovepipe will just kind of slide in there. So this goes on the outside. So the spark arrestor just goes right on top. It fits in, and then it just tightens with this little collar here. So loosen it up a little bit, make sure that's nice and snug. And that's that. Then we'll do the same on the bottom here. Slide this on the pipe. The pipe is supposed to go over the flue here, so we might have to widen it out a little bit. We'll slide one of the rings up so it creates a little wider path down there. So the other thing about this stovepipe, since it's so light, I mean, it is blowing like crazy. Like I can just feel the stovepipe shifting, and that in turn is making the lid of this flex quite a bit. See, it's not stable. It's not stable at all. So that's why they give you little guy wires to guide this thing out. So that's probably what I should do. The spark arrestor has these key rings on it. And those key rings are basically so you can guide this thing out so the stovepipe stays stable in wind. On a windy day like today, and a really lightweight stove like this, you really need to guide this out. Otherwise, this thing could just be swaying in the wind the whole time, which is what I'm afraid of out here. So I'm gonna tie some string onto it. I'm gonna stake it into the ground, get this all guyed out, and then we'll put a fire in it. I got the stove pipe all guyed out. It's all secure. It's actually really solid now. It's not going anywhere. Now, in defense of the stove, it's falling over and doing all this stuff, and it's very affected by the wind. That's because I'm out here in the open. Normally, this would be inside of a tent, and the stove pipe would go through the stove jack of the tent, and that contact point there will also lend a hand in lessening the effect of wind and the stovepipe tipping and things like that. So setting it out in the open is much more difficult than setting it up in a tent. We may have one more thing we need to do. Here's some firewood, dry, ready to go. This is basically store-bought firewood. This is what you get like at a gas station or something like that. That's longer than the stove. That's not gonna fit. I don't care. A little assisted lighting never hurts. Starting to catch a little bit here. My plan is to burn this just for a couple of hours. I want some color on the stove. The cool part about titanium, as it heats up, it changes color. It gets like really cool bronze and sometimes blue and purples. And it'll also, ooh, there's a lot of snow on there. This particular model has the front window, the side window. I don't believe all models do that. I don't even know if they make this particular one yet. This would be easier in a tent, hands down. I just noticed an issue. The damper isn't seated all the way into the stove body here, and it's starting to get really, really hot. Ugh. All right, I was able to get it in there and get it seated, which is nice. Love these gloves. It is drafting like crazy. The air intake from here and drafting up the pipe, like it's like impressive. There's that coloring I was talking about. It went from bronze to purple pretty quick. So there's some heat coming off this thing like major. So far, so good. It took a little work getting this whole thing together. The stovepipe, the whole process of rolling that thing was not an easy process. Maybe the pool noodle system works better. I don't know, I didn't do it that way because I wanted to see the traditional way. Not easy, seriously, and I'm a fairly capable person. But all in all, it's a nice little package. It's burning well, it's putting off a lot of heat. If this was in a tent, I'm sure the tent will start heating up at this point. So far, after that whole fidget factor and learning curve, it's pretty nice. Burning really well. It's been burning for maybe a half hour, and I got really good dry seasoned wood. I did load it with some big stuff a little bit ago, and it took a while for that to finally catch. So I'm just gonna load it up. Hopefully it's hot enough inside there where all this gets up to ignition point. But I can see the flame underneath going pretty good. I think this is the last I'll load it. I'm just gonna let it burn down from here. So far, so good. I'm liking it. I really wish I was in a tent though, because it's actually starting to snow a little bit. It is chilly and it's windy. I should have brought my tent. It's starting to color up really well. You got a lot of the bronze on top. On the side, I don't see any really big warpage, nothing major. Maybe a slight indentation here, like ever so slightly. But with titanium, you know, it's pretty thin, it's light, but it handles heat really well. I don't see any big warpage issues at all. I've seen some stoves warp crazy, but this is pretty nice. It's generating some heat. It's drafting real well. I mean, it is burning. This is a nice stove. Probably been burning for an hour and a half total. No idea where the snow came from. There was no snow in the forecast. It's probably 38 degrees and yeah, it's like legit snowing. Colored up really nice on top. Almost the whole top is colored up. The side is colored up really, really well. The stovepipe is colored up, especially right down in here. And yes, I realize I'm on a hill. It's not level back here at all. That door is really stiff. I'm gonna have to loosen that up. But this thing is awesome. I'm gonna let it cool down. I'm gonna get all those embers out of here. Then we're gonna take it apart and just kind of take a look at what it looks like once it cools down, of course. All right, cooled off really fast. My steel stove would still be very, very, very warm. I cleaned the ashes out. The embers are out of it. But I kind of want to take a closer look to see how the pieces fared after the heat test. Let's take a closer look. So let's take off the lid. And it's not stiff or anything. I mean, there's no like warping at all. Inside obviously is dirty from all the soot and creosote. I mean, it's got like a little bend to it, but there's a seam right there, but no like crazy ridges or anything. Inside the stove body, a little bit of a dirty burn. I didn't let this burn as hot as it probably should have, but I don't see any warped ridges or anything. So let's go ahead and collapse it. Pull the glass side down first. No issues, no hang-ups. I mean, perfect. Absolutely perfect. This is what I love about these kinds of stoves. Spark arrestor looks good. I mean, it's just a little blackened, but I mean, nothing, no deformities. The big question though is the stovepipe. How did it fare? I'm gonna take the flue off, the damper off. That's clean. It bronzed up a little bit, but I mean, it's clean. There's hardly any soot in there at all. And then the pipe, just gonna remove these rings. You can see the creases in here. Wonder if I should do this inside, because last time I rolled this outside, it was a nightmare. looks fine. I mean, there is a little bit of creosote buildup in there, but I imagine, I don't even know how you would clean this. If this was heavy, like sooted up, I don't know how you would even clean this. Whereas a solid pipe, you could just ream it out with a little pipe cleaner. But I want to roll it back up like normal, so. I don't even know what to do. And once you get it flat, it seems okay. And it rolls right up. Now you just have to tighten it to get it a much smaller package here. Just kind of like a poster, really. A poster that could give you stitches. And then to hold it all together, just throw all your rings on it. Spread it down so it holds. Throw your little collar on there as well. You can even crank that down to make sure it holds. All in all, I'm not a big fan of it. I like the size factor, I like the weight factor. The fuss factor, the fidget factor, it almost broke me. I almost just gave up and threw everything. Maybe it just takes more trial and error. If you have more experience with these kinds of stovepipes, let me know. Tips, tricks, how to mitigate the feelings of like wanting to like kick something or break something. Let me know any suggestions on how to make this a better process. I would appreciate. But rolling it up wasn't that bad once you could flatten it out. So now I just pack it up. Throw a little poker in there, and then the flue just tucks right in. Just like that. And pack away the stove. So the strap is nice. I didn't think you would need it, but it's nice. It just keeps it all together, keeps it tight. Just like that. And that's it. Now they do have these little clips here to where you can just carry this on top like this. You know, it just nests on there. I don't know. It's neat, but I think very unnecessary. So after that, it was a little bit of a debacle at first. You saw it. But once everything was set up, this stove was awesome. It burned amazing. It put off a lot of heat. So if you're looking to heat a small to a medium tent, this thing is absolutely perfect. Like I said, it's lightweight, it packs, and it just does what it's supposed to do. Now, a couple of things that I would like to see, if I may say, is one is this scraper. This virtually does nothing. There needs to be a flat piece of metal here so you can actually scrape and get things out of it. So it's good for moving logs around, but really bad for scraping ash. I would also like to see a stove like this with a false bottom. Give you like a little grate to put on the bottom that will help save the bottom of the stove, but it'll also help circulate that initial burn. Now Danchel, they sent me all three of these stoves, and they asked that I take a look at them, talk about them if I wanted to, but better yet, get out and use it and just do a review on them if I would. And yeah, I would, because I'm looking into these stoves. Now, I'm not paid by Danchel House. I'm not really affiliated with them other than just a couple of emails back and forth. But if you're looking for more information on these stoves, or if you want to pick one up for yourself, because they're a really good value. They really are. You can check the Amazon link down in the description of this video. Now, those Amazon links, they're not associated with Danchel at all. They're just standard Amazon links. So if you were to buy a banana protector down there, it'd be the same as buying a Danchel stove. So not affiliated with Danchel at all, other than just a few emails back and forth. So I didn't get a kickback. I'm not being paid or anything like that. But it was something that I saw value in, and I thought that my viewers could really get some use out of it, because it's less expensive than some of the bigger brands, and it does just as much. Does it have a lot of the fancy, you know, upgraded features of some of the other stoves? No. Do you need that? No. But if you're looking to just get into winter camping and hot tent camping, then this is a way to go, because the stoves, that's the most expensive part of your hot tent setup. You can get a tent for 150 bucks. You know, you probably already have the sleeping bags and all that kind of stuff, and sleeping pads. You just need that stove. Well, for 250, 350 bucks, you can get into a very, very decent stove to heat that tent of yours. Just get outside, try this kind of stuff, and better yet, if you have any questions for me, if you have any comments for me, leave those comments down in the comment area below. I read all your comments, all the funny ones, all the mean ones, all everything, and I answer them, you know, as best as I can. So be sure to leave that. And then, better yet, if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do that. Right down there. It's free. Anyways, I appreciate you watching. Get out on trail. I'll see you on the next one. Love you, bye.